Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I'm finally getting around to doing the Remington rolling block takedown video. I know it's been a long time coming, not too long, maybe a week and a half since I started doing this whole thing. Cleaning up the garage right now, so we're on the bed of the truck right now, and the angles might not be great throughout the video, but we're gonna try and get it done. So yeah. So the Remington rolling block is honestly, this is my first rolling block that I've ever bought. It's a really beautiful gun. I really enjoy these, especially like the full-size ones like these. They make a lot of people are making Remington rolling blocks in the 1800s and early 1900s, but Remington has this nice full-size one, and it is a beautiful gun, and it's honestly one of the simplest guns that I've ever taken apart, and I really enjoy that, to be honest. Some of them, some guns can be really difficult, really stubborn, especially a lot of like revolvers or pistols. The innards are just kind of they're just kind of messy, but this is a really simple gun. It's not hard to take apart. Most of the time you can honestly just follow the screws that you see on guns, on old guns, and you'll be totally fine taking it apart. The Remington has a little bit of a unique piece over here, but it's not that bad. So we'll just start with the barrel bands here, which I know I didn't talk in the first video. Rectifying that now. A lot of my friends saw it and they were like, you should talk. And I'm still not sure if I'm gonna talk on the restoration videos, because it's kind of, the idea of that first video was just like this ASMR almost, just kind of working through it. But at the minimum, I think I'll do at least one where I talk about the restoration process. It's not terribly fancy, but it protects the gun. It gets the active rust gone and gets all the parts moving again. So I'll probably do one video the next time I get in a beat up gun, and I'll do something like that. But to start with, to start with is the barrel bands, which is what I was about to say. Is this one in particular in the last video, or the first video, I don't know if you were able to see, you push down these levers, and that's how these barrel bands come up. That's the only thing holding them in place. And I should be taking the cleaning rod out first. So that just slides out, and then you're left with just the barrel bands. But like I said, so you have these little metal pieces that are leveraging against the barrel bands, and they're really easy to take off. You just push that down. But this one was stuck when I first got this gun, and yeah, it's doing pretty good now. I cleaned up around it, had a little bit of rust, a little bit of gunk around it, but it is doing good now. So that should be it. Yeah, there you go. So it just takes 3 barrel bands and you're good to go. And then the stock comes off from under the barrel, just like that. All the metal stays in there. Everything's all good in there. Now when I was restoring this, the inside of the wood was a little beat up, so I put some cleaning things in there, some protectants. But so that part's really easy, and then you're left with almost just the bare metal. It's actually pretty interesting, you can see in there. But anyways, so we will go ahead and take off the back stock. Honestly, you don't, like I said, you can just follow these screws for the most part, and you'll get to where you need to be. And you don't need any fancy tools when you're doing this. I have a flathead screwdriver here, because no one, these old ones, no one's using, they haven't made the Phillips. So that top screw right there should be enough for that to just slide out. So that's it. Just one screw on the top that keeps it in. She's a little oily. And if you wanted to take the butt plate off, it's just this screw and this top screw, and that's it. Same thing if you were to take, whatever that's called, off, it's just those 2 screws. So now you're actually just left with the guts. So the next bit is, this is like the only tricky part, is this little plate here that keeps pressure on both of these. So you'll take that screw off, which can be a little difficult, especially like a lot of these old screws get stripped, and they can be really difficult to mess with. So when I was first cleaning this, I don't even know if it showed in the video. Oh, so, you know, always keep your screws separate and in a place where you know you can find them. But that little piece just came right off. But when I was first cleaning this, I was struggling to get that off. It was very much so stuck. So that's kind of the struggle when it comes to the old guns, is things will get stuck. I have a model 1851 Colt Navy, and it was rough. It was really rough. It had a lot of active rust in it. And I was working on it, and I managed to get almost every screw off except for 2, so I wasn't able to fully clean the insides. And that's like the difficulty, you know, WD-40 and just keep, you know, working on it. But some of them just don't want to come off. Now, anyways, so once you get this plate off, you have these 2 screws, and they're not even screws, they're just big chunks of metal. So you're gonna use a punch, whatever you have, and punch that screw out. I also had, again, not screw, but I had a lot of difficulty with this, and I don't have like my table saw or anything right now, so this might suck a little if this doesn't want to come out on the first swing or two. But you start with the bolt up here closest to the block. So we're just gonna put that on. Yeah, all right, that's coming out really easy. So you start on the portion on this chunk of metal that's closest to the block, and you hammer from the side that it's on outwards. So you can see that's already starting to divot, and honestly I can push that out some. But yeah, so I was having a lot of difficulty when I first got this, and maybe kind of honestly made me question if I was doing it right. But so just push that out, and you can see it's starting to come out, and there's the first one. So you're left with this big gaping hole. You can pull the hammer back, take the block out, and that's it. That is all it is. So again, keep these bits separate. It's good, it probably doesn't matter, but it is good practice to keep these in the right order of which you take them out. You know, again, I don't think it really matters, but it's always good practice to put everything exactly where you found it. So now to get the hammer out, you push it all the way forward, and same thing, start from the right side of the gun and push out. So you push, like I said, you push the hammer all the way in, get your punch, and there goes that. There's your second one, putting that to the right of the first one so I don't put that in the wrong spot. And there you go, hammer comes right out. So that entire system is held up by 2 bolts, and that's literally it. So that leaves you with the empty space. Now if you want to keep going, again, pretty self-explanatory, but these 2 screws would be next, and that should take out the lower bit. These screws they're not in the best condition, but I was able to get them out the first time with a lot of love, and so yeah, they're not going to give me a hard time now. Sometimes with these old screws there's like this weird fight with pressure. Yeah, see, I'm kind of having I need to push down to unscrew them, but at the same time they have pretty long necks on these screws that don't have any riveting. So sometimes, you know, like I said, you push down to screw out, and you just don't get anywhere because the riveting is really shallow. So you have to pull up while still holding firm. So yeah, so you can see that the riveting is only just the smallest little bit. So like I said, you can definitely have a difficult time, and you can see that this is starting to move. There's a lot of pressure on that. Then you just take this out. And this, I actually didn't, well, I noticed when I bought it because it looked in the style of the Remington model I want to say 1868, but it was sold as the Egyptian contract, which kind of threw me off for a little bit. There's the other one. But so that comes off. But if you ever want to identify your Remingtons, the Remington rolling block information is right on this tang, and that's why I didn't see it at first, because this half of it's worn off, and this doesn't even say Remington. It's just pattern recognition at that point. It's like, it says June 11th, November 12th, March, New York, USA, which is Remington's thing. They say like patented in whatever month, whatever year, whatever city. And on the Remington, unfortunately, because this is an Egyptian contract, Remington isn't really keeping good records of their rifles that they're selling abroad. But it does have a serial number, if you can make it out. Yeah, there you go. So you can see F37555, and then maybe another stamp at the end. But that's where it would be. I mean, that's really it. You know, the trigger hangs loose, and there's nothing to this. You know, it's your usual parts, and it's just really simple. So, you know, I cleaned this out, made sure there's no gunk in it. Might need to clean a little bit more in here, make sure there's no active rust, because active rust is the most dangerous aspect of older guns and older swords. I had a sword that I had cleaned up one time, and I put into an old gun case with foam, and it must have had a speck of active rust in it, or something I put in that case before had active rust. And I went to check back in on the sword a couple months later, and it was just covered in red rust. It was eaten alive. It was crazy. And like all the wiring on the handle had been eaten up and torn up, so I had to take all that out, and I had to fully restore it again, and it looked worse than when I bought it. But anyway, so that's like my one thing you really need to think about, is just active rust. You always have to kill that. But anyways, so there's everything taken apart, nothing left in it. Very simple mechanism. When it comes to the sights, you have, you know, your screws up here, and yeah, I mean, that is really it. Like I said, it's one of the most simple guns I've ever taken apart. Doesn't take that long, not much effort, but it's really cool, really strong. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good mechanism. So that's really it. Let me think. So, you know, this is the second gun video. We have 2 coin videos up. I'm going to have a 3rd coin video coming up, because the Annandale Coin Show in Northern Virginia is this weekend. Today's Thursday, and it's Saturday and Sunday, so I'll be at that. There'll be a couple items for sale there, like this, the model 1851 Navy, and then an over-under double hammer Howdah pistol from England. So there'll be a couple things there if you're into this, and I highly recommend, you know, if you're into one hobby, you'll probably like the other. But I highly recommend checking that out, and I'll try and get another takedown video up in the next week or two. Maybe a trap door. I'll do a trap door, or if the revolver doesn't sell, then I'll do that one. Yeah, so anyways, thanks for watching. The intro at this point is just going to be, I'll see you in the next video, and have a good day.